Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing great. In the last video, as you know, we talked about origin of universe. We talked about Big Bang theory and how our Earth was formed. Now, in this theory, we will talk about origin of life on the planet Earth. So let's start without any further ado. So, according to Big Bang Theory, life appeared around 500 million years after the formation of Earth, or we can say around 4 billion years back. So, there are so many theories, that try to explain the origin of life on the planet Earth, but in this video we will just talk about five most popular theories that describe origin of life on Earth. So we will talk about spontaneous generation theory given by Aristotle in 350 BCE. Then we will talk about biogenesis given by Louis Pasteur in 1864. Then there is a panspermia theory that was given in 1903. Then we'll talk about O'Brien primordial soup theory given in 1924. Then we will talk about modern theories as well. Okay, so let's start one by one. So actually, Aristotle, a great scientist, gave a theory in 350 BCE. He said that life originated out of nowhere. He said life originated spontaneously by itself, and he named his theory as spontaneous generation. And later on, there was another scientist known as Van Helmont. He conducted a type of experiment to prove spontaneous generation. He said that if you keep dirty clothes like dirty shirts, which are full of, dirt and sweat, with wheat for about 21 days, you need to keep them in warm and dark place for 21 days, and after 21 days you will see mice will be produced from them. And people literally believed this concept for so many years. And why it was so? Because on their daily basis they actually observed so many kind of cases, like they observed how frogs come from mud and flies come from garbage. They observed like suddenly there was growth of some maggots on the decaying meat. Because of these phenomena which they observed in their daily life, they believed in this spontaneous generation. They believed life originated from nowhere. But later on, there was a great scientist known as Louis Pasteur. He completely rejected the idea of spontaneous generation, and he constructed his own theory known as theory of biogenesis. According to this theory, life can be originated only from pre-existing life, and to prove his theory, what he did, he conducted one experiment, and in this experiment he used a special kind of flask known as Swan neck flask. So actually he took the flask and he molded the neck of this flask into very thin tube, as shaped tube. And what was the reason behind it? Because he doesn't want any kind of microorganism and dirt to enter up to the core of the flask. He just wanted air to reach up to the bottom of the flask, but not any other thing, like no dust particle, no microorganism, nothing like this. So what he did, he filled this flask with the liquid known as nutrient broth. So afterwards, what he did, he boiled this broth to kill all microorganisms or any sign of life that was existing in this broth. And after boiling, he kept this flask for a long period of time just to notice any change in the flask, but he didn't observe any sign of life, in this flask. So he conducted the same experiment second time, and second time what he did, he again took the same kind of flask, then he filled it with nutrient broth and he boiled that solution. After boiling this time, what he did, he broke the upper part of the flask. And why did he do that? Because this time he actually wanted the air, whatever, air, dust particle, whatever there was, to come in contact with this nutrient broth. And then he kept this flask, containing this broth for the same time period as he did in the first case. So after that specific time period, he noticed that some microorganisms, some growth appeared in that flask. So he actually concluded from his experiment that when life that was existing in the air came in contact with the nutrient rich broth, then only this life originated. So, with this theory, he said life can be originated only from a pre-existing life, but spontaneous generation of life cannot happen. So, this was all about the theory given by great scientist Louis Pasteur. So there is one more theory that is known as panspermia theory. This theory suggests that life exists throughout the universe and can be transported between planets via meteoroids, asteroids, comets, or spacecraft. He says different bodies like meteoroids, asteroids already had some, precursors of life. They said they already carried some kind of microorganisms, and when these bodies actually landed on the planet Earth, and this is how life, started to exist on the planet. This theory was criticized because this theory actually doesn't tell how life was originated. It mostly talks about the distribution of life, but not the actual origin of life. So that's what a panspermia theory says. So later on, there were two scientists known as Oprin and then Halden. What they did, they gave a hypothesis in 1920. According to this hypothesis, they said life originated on Earth through a gradual process of chemical evolution. They said there were some simple chemical molecules, and slowly over the time period of million years, these chemicals get converted into some life forms. And how life originated, they said, like, on early Earth, the atmosphere was reducing. There was you know there was no oxygen on the primitive Earth, and there were very frequent volcanic eruptions, and due to which some of the gases like carbon dioxide, then ammonia, then methane, these gases were produced from these eruptions. There were water molecules, some water vapors as well, and under the influence of some energy sources, for example, like UV radiations and lightning, these simple molecules started to combine together and resulted in the formation of some advanced some more complex molecules like amino acids were formed, then some nucleosides were formed, some phosphate groups were formed. This is how from very simple molecules some more advanced molecules were formed. And with the help of rain, when these molecules started to drain into the, nearby water bodies, and then they created a nutrient rich aquatic environment. And these water bodies, which were rich of these organic inorganic molecules, they were known as primordial soaps. Eventually they said these anyhow these organic molecules organized into more advanced, more complex structure that led to the formation of simple life forms. That's what O'Brien-Haldane hypothesis says. But they just provided this hypothesis. They didn't provide any experiment to prove their hypothesis. But fortunately later on there were two other scientists known as Miller and Urey. They, tried to prove the hypothesis given by O'Brien and Haldane. So to prove their hypothesis, what they did, they set up, they tried to construct the same kind of conditions that were, you know, that were present on the primitive earth. So what they did, they constructed a setup as you can see on this slide. So they took a closed this oval shaped apparatus, and in this chamber they put those gases which are claimed by O'Brien and Haldane were present at that time. Like they put carbon dioxide, then methane, then they put ammonia, and they also released water vapors. Like this is the chamber in which water is being boiled, and all the water vapors are being then transported in this chamber. And now the second point was to provide some source of energy. Like on the primitive earth they considered like lightning and UV rays were present. Under the influence of that energy, these simple molecules got combined. So to provide energy, what Miller and Urey did, they actually uh, fixed these two electrodes and provide electricity to provide a spark. And under the so that under the influence of this energy, these molecules can combine with each other. And after some time, when they took out sample from here, to their surprise they actually found presence of amino acids here. So this experiment actually proved that the hypothesis which was given by Haldane and O'Brien, that was actually true. So simple molecules under certain conditions, can actually combine and can give, a precursor of more advanced molecules. So this is how O'Brien and Haldane hypothesis was proved by these two great scientists. So from all those theories, today, so all these, they took all the valid points which were actually proved by scientists in the lab, and then they constructed this most refined theory and known as chemical evolution. And I am going to talk about these points just in brief. So as we know, scientists say like Earth formed around 4.5 million years ago, and there were some limited gases, were produced through volcanic eruptions. There was no oxygen, and under the influence of lightning, volcanic activity, and UV radiation, some kind of chemical reaction happened between these gases, and some small organic molecules like nucleotides and amino acids were formed through these reactions. And this actually happened, so because it was proved by scientists. And then later on these amino acids, they found like these amino acids were formed from these proteins were formed from these amino acids. So actually today as well, like if you are going to take, a piece of rock and you are going to increase its temperature, and you put some molecules of amino acid on this hot rock, and you will actually see like some protein molecules can get constructed. And if you put some lipids in the solution, then you will see how these lipid molecules actually make a bilayer you know so these are some of the evidences which actually convince chemical evolution is actually something because of which life was originated on the planet Earth. So uh, once we got the precursors like amino acids, nucleotides, then obviously, and this is not something that happened just within few days or within few seconds. This actually took like billion years. Slowly, chemical evolution happened from simple molecules, complex molecules kept on building, and finally we got, simple life forms. So this is how with the chemical evolution, life was originated on the planet Earth. So finally, it got proved, somehow, scientists were able to find out how life was originated on the planet Earth. Now there is another question. Okay, now we know chemical evolution is actually the reason to originate life on the planet Earth, but what about the existence of so many types of life forms on planet Earth? How so many life forms got originated? Um, so they talked about evolution. They say evolution happened. Because of evolution, different life forms got originated. So again, if someone is saying something, so we need a kind of evidence. So do we have evidences to prove that evolution happened, or it is just a myth? So fortunately, we do have evidence to prove that evolution happened, and evolution is the main reason how different diverse life form exist on the planet Earth. So in the coming video, we will talk about all these evidence. So if you really liked my video, please hit the like button and do subscribe my channel as well. I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Take care.